Welcome back to Curse, Code, and Crown, a live play Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition podcast featuring a fully original world and campaign. I am the wizard Kronox, observer of time. Curse, Code, and Crown features our regular voiceover artists and improvisers, Laura Elizabeth as the Orcountant Eta, Tyler Hewitt as Makka Deathcap, and Ryan LaPlante as Duncan Danno, alongside our dungeon master, the incredible Tom McGee. So get ready for an adventure including thrills, chills, and hope for a brighter tomorrow. It's time for Curse, Code, and Crown!
It's the day of a wedding. And more than that, it's a wedding during Sprangbrekh, which is very exciting. It's also the day of an election, which is exciting for entirely different reasons. But sure enough, coming from a political dynasty, Jaden, and listening to his incredible best man, name unknown, Jaden Hayworth has decided to throw a wedding the day of the election. He can't campaign anymore, but he sure can be a handsome sumbitch who's marrying a cool lady who's wearing the armor of a major folk hero. And so in a last-ditch effort of vaguely skirting the rules of an election, Jaden is here to make sure that he is the name in everyone's mind when they go to the voting box. The three of you awake with clear mission objectives in mind. Duncan, your main mission is to essentially get close enough to Karen to kill her and get the armor back.
While ruining the wedding.
Well, I mean, that was implied, given that she is part of that.
The bride would ruin the wedding, yeah.
Oh, no, but I also want to ruin it politically.
Right, yes. So your major, just to sum up before we go into this kind of climax of the arc, your main kind of open questions are what's causing the gray and how do we stop it? How do we get the body back for Gwendolyn? Then how do we find Gwendolyn?
Put in the body, yep.
Not necessarily your concern, but on your list, who killed Jeanette Wilcox. Another sort of secondary concern is who is part of the conspiracy that led to the attempt on Ida's life, and thus who can kind of get in the way. And of course, who will lead Fortress Sprangbrekh and to a large extent, based on what you've seen, whoever leads Sprangbrekh kind of leads the Down Under. So who will be in power for the next however many years? So the day of the wedding is upon us. As I mentioned, the plan for the wedding certainly is to do it as close to the polls as possible. So it's kind of a whatever happens at the wedding will have a drastic effect on who is elected subsequently. What do you do?
Okay, Duncan would excuse himself to go be as involved with wedding planning as possible because he needs to be there from the morning. His plans are like, he's dealing with all the basics, so he has to talk them into the reverse, but he can do that with the wedding party if he can go be the best man. So he wants to give all of the people, like all of the young kids who would be really bored by a wedding and want to do whatever the equivalent of texting is, they all get the front row seats because they'd hate Karen the most and Karen would hate them for being young. Whereas anybody who's obsessed with tradition or all the things about being really respected, they'll get the seats at the back where they can't hear anything, so they're aware that no one likes them. And all of the traditionalists get the fish. They won't order it. They're going to order something good, but they all get the fucking fish, like the whole back half. Do you know what? Maybe everybody gets the fish. It's not even on the list, but the only thing the caterer serves is fish.
And he's going to try not even a mysterious gray chicken with some kind of cream sauce option?
They'll offer beef and chicken, but will only serve fish. That's how this plays out, so no one's happy. The theme will be huge penises. Just huge penises everywhere. Because that'll really distract from any thoughts of sex, because penises. He'll have to talk him into that, but that's going to be his plan there. Because A, guests won't like it, and B, they'll be like, why all the penises? Is there something wrong with this penis? It'll just cycle in there.
Duncan, it turns out, has never been to a wedding.
Oh, no, he hasn't.
All right.
Yeah, and then just try to schedule as many things that'll piss. Like anything that can go wrong for Karen, he'll make go wrong. Jaden, he wants to make feel amazing the whole day because that will also make Karen more of a nightmare.
Okay, cool. So those are your plans in place. Makka and Ita, you're going as guests. What is your what are your plans? What are your objectives while you're there?
Makka is just going to attend as a guest and basically help however he can when things inevitably take a major turn, i.e. when someone attacks the bride. He's also there to make Karen look bad. So he's basically, I think, waiting outside with all the other guests, I think. If there is, like, because this is a presidential hopeful getting married on election day, I'm assuming there's a lot of people outside the venue wanting to get a glimpse and waiting to get in and stuff like that. I think that's where Makka would want to be for, since he and Ita, who is also disguised as Duncan Danno. We are somewhat public figures in the way that we slayed the salamander. People saw us like conversing with the last president kind of thing. So it like hopefully standing amongst a crowd of dwarves, we get picked to be like, oh yeah, come to the wedding kind of thing. Because we weren't invited like with invitations, but hopefully.
Yeah, I like that.
Tom, can I use my stress for something? Because I think it's a big enough ask that I'll throw my stress out there.
Sure.
Duncan would, if possible, like to replace all of the wedding gifts with fish-related items, just to do like a telltale heart of Gwendolyn. So every present that opens will be like a fish or some fish item that looks like Gwendolyn's marking.
Okay. More than stress. If you can go find the chefs. So breakfast is being served. You remember having like the big hangover brunch. You find the chefs. Okay, well we'll get to that in a second. That's like a yes, but.
Yay! My favorite. Improv in this world is yes, but.
Yeah, just like 2099, baby. Okay, Ita, what is? Are you just kind of going along with Makka's plan? I assume that kind of makes sense because this is not your usual.
Yeah, and I think I will. I'm going to keep an eye open for an opportunity to reveal myself to someone who I think, if I think someone might be involved in the conspiracy, because they will be shocked to see me alive. So I don't know what that will look like yet, but
fair enough. I think for the ease of all of this, we'll say specifically Weebly Straubelmeyer will be your target.
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
Yeah. Cool. Very good. Oh, well, this is nice. We've got some like Jane Austen level, like I'll reveal something at a party that will destroy you in the next season. I like it. Okay. Cool.
Tom, if we want to kill that yes, but this is the nature of improv. Let me just say this. What if just everything's fish themed? He just wants to tell harder with like the food and the decorations and that
great.
shit.
I love it.
No
Fish
penises. That's
great.
stupid.
Yeah.
Fish.
Fish theme.
Everybody eats fish. The theme is fish.
Yeah. You're still gonna have to go talk to the chef.
Of course, absolutely.
Yes. That was my yes, but yeah. So if we imagine then like Duncan's list of possible themes that he wrote, it's like the first one is just revenge. Then that's crossed out. And the second one is Dawnbreakers, and that one's crossed out. And then the third one is penises with a question mark. And there's like a second question mark, so we clearly spent some time considering it.
Yeah, he crossed that one out on the walk to the church.
I also like to imagine that part of that is just Duncan trying to understand what a bunch of like. I don't think Duncan was ever really a young person as like the Sprangbrekhers present themselves. To him, like the cool thing to do is like a young person be like get really good at dueling, and then like that's where all of this comes from.
He only understands drinking as an act of self-loathing.
Yeah. So as a result, it's like, are the kids into penises? I don't know what's cool. So great, I love it. But then you settle on fish. I like fish theme in general is pretty great. The fish wedding. What a fucking stupid theme for a wedding. I honestly would have taken the penises over the fish, just like in life. Okay, great. So great. So that's all set. Right. Gwendolyn. You were drifting yet again down through the rocks. You briefly find yourself slowing. And it would seem that there's enough of whatever raw metal is mined, because as I've mentioned, these mines, demon is the main thing, but they also do mine metals. There are veins of metal threaded throughout this rock that are actually starting to pull you in multiple directions. So I'm going to need one of those very important Constitution saves.
Okay. Con. All right. 17.
All right. The counter remains at 2.
You mean it doesn't go back one?
No. But yes, you are.
Don't make him angry. Just play nice. Just play nice.
What is my favorite thing?
Your essence is because you like making new characters. Your essence is vaguely suspended for part of the night. Also, just to make sure that the timelines sync up for the game. You're just kind of stuck there for a few hours in the middle of the night. It sucks. It's kind of like sleeping, but if your body was being torn apart. But in the morning, you begin to drift down again. But you have passed a very important check. Congratulations. I will not take it away from you.
Yay!
Yet. All right. So, as Duncan, you're running up to the church, having just crossed out your plans and written "revenge fish" with like a check mark and a smiley face and like a crudely drawn Dawnbreakers logo. And then I assume like throwing it in a fire or something.
Then I eat it because there's no fire on the road, so it's just eating the paper and being like, never wanted to be a spy for this reason.
There's a lifelong aversion to paper. Great. So you arrive at the church. There is a huge amount of supporters outside. People are clearly very excited about Jaden. Same kind of enthusiasm you saw from the performance on your first kind of day here. This wedding has come together extraordinarily quickly. And part of the way that you're able to influence it, having spent stress for fish, is for people who truly, truly believe in the YOLO philosophy. If you decide you're getting married, just fucking do it tomorrow, man. You only live once. No time to wait. Which means that you actually can have a tremendous amount of influence on the wedding because it's being put together now. The previous night was spent on bachelor party hijinks and not on wedding planning. That was an afterthought. They're working on it. So as you arrive, Jaden like waves to you, and he's got like his brother Robert with him, and he's his two friends, both of which are named Kyle, and they're all like, broing out. But as you approach, he says, "Oh, this here's the guy. This is the guy. He's gonna be my best man. He gives such good advice." Sorry, Robert. Robert's like, "Yeah, that's okay." And they kind of wave to you, and basically like a subtle shift occurs in the crowd as they all kind of turn to behold you, Duncan. But also part and parcel with this comes the ability now to help coordinate. Because now that he has established that you're the guy, He kind of just looks at you as like a, go forth and plan the best damn wedding this place has ever seen. The best one in living memory of 10 years. Living memory is not impressive here.
And I give him a thumbs up and tuck my necrotist mask on even tighter. And then just stride forth to make a wedding shitty.
All right. So you want everything to be fish themed.
Fish.
You're going to need to convince the
fish up high,
decorators,
fish, low. Fish,
the chef, and I guess that's it. I was going to rule of three, but there's actually no third thing. Those are kind of the only two who can effectively add fish, unless you want to try and book the famous dwarven band Fish to play, which is also a possible thing.
What I'd like to do actually is get whoever's going to carry out the ceremony, they're like dwarf priest.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have a talk with him to convince him that he needs to use fish metaphors and talk about death and talk about righteous retribution during the ceremony.
Cool. Okay. So there's the funny third thing. We did it. So who would you go to first?
The chef. I feel like he's like, if he can't get the others, all fish in the room is a pretty good symbol. So he wants to kind of put all his wood behind that arrow, you know?
Yeah, I dig that. Because I have to. You enter the kitchen.
I'm going to leave it.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor a certain CEO that Tom and I worked for at one point likes to use that doesn't make much sense.
You enter the kitchen, and you see just like a massive pair of shoulders on this chef, bright red shirt with flames on the bottom, sunglasses facing you as you would expect, tiny little beard, spiky hair, and she says, "All right, everybody, all I know is we're gonna send this whole wedding to Flavor Country. Now, you know, they're used to their normal food. We're really going to kick it up. I have been to restaurants throughout the Down Under, and I got to tell you, this one's pretty good. So we just got to kick it up. I want you to start making some donkey sauce. Don't know what we're going to use it for, but I'm going to want it." And then you walk in, he's like, "Oh, hey, dude, it's the best man. Welcome. Come on in."
That's right. All right. So I'm here because we have a very specific menu, and it's very important to the bride. And now, a lot of people have said, I bet they couldn't do this on short notice. You know, I bet they don't have the skills. I bet they're not prepared. And do you know what I said to them? You're wrong. This is the best kitchen around. And because donkey sauce, because Flavor Country. He's just repeating words he heard during the speech as he came in. And he's like, this is the time for us to serve fish to everyone. Fish to the bride. Fish to the groom. Fish to people no matter what they order. Because sometimes people know what they want. But we know what they need. They need fish with donkey sauce, Flavor Country.
Wait a minute. You're talking about sending them to Flavor Country? He's missed everything except that. Then he starts nodding. He's like, well, if I can't do that with fish, then I'm not Cy Fieri, famous dwarven chef. He says, but I mean, fish are kind of hard to come by down here. And he starts getting like real concerned. Ryan, what does Duncan do to help get him up and over this bump?
Well, see, you're thinking big, and sometimes the trick is to think small, because you look at it and you go, that might not be enough fish for a person, but you're wrong. It's enough for 4 people if you deep fry it, not just once, not just twice, not just 3 times, but 4 times. Because what's the best part of fried fish? It's something shaped like a fish. There's fish in its core. It's all the good donkey sauce Flavor Country. Huh?
He looks at you and kind of scratches at the edge of his beard, the way someone in a space movie normally goes like, I don't know if landing on the moon, I guess it's possible, but no one's attempted it. And he's like, the 4th fry. The bard spoke of this, but didn't think it was possible. He goes, everybody circle up. I know we've been working pretty hard on our triple fry. what if we did it one more time? And everyone starts scratching at the edge of their chin, like, I don't know, it's never been done. I mean, it's and they start like, it's the classic, like they sweep the table, like pull out a blueprint. They're like, okay, so we put it in twice, put it in a third time. Well, what do we do? Well, we just put it in a fourth time. And everyone's like, okay, all right. Says, this is so crazy, it just might work. Hell, it's not even just going to be a flavor country. It's going to be a flavor continent. He walks over and he says, you really are as good as Jaden said. You truly are the best man. Listen, I want to name this in your honor. So what would you want me to name this dish?
Call it Gwendolyn's Return. Call it Gwendolyn's Return. That's a great one. Because the bride's best friend was named Gwendolyn. She'll love it. She'll be like, how did you know? And it'll be like, Gwendolyn never goes away. She can't make the wedding, so this is a beautiful symbol.
Oh, that's great. Okay, yeah. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me, but you did come up with the famed idea of the 4th deep fry. God, I got to rethink all my menus. Think of the things we can fry. Oh, I'm going to clog a lot of arteries.
Real life anecdote worth sharing. I did go to a Guy Fieri's restaurant once with 3 people, and they were like, do you want your meals, your burritos deep fried? And 3 of us said yes, and 1 person said no, and all 4 came deep fried. And I was like, you can't send it back. You were wrong.
Yeah, they know what's best for you. They're like, you're going to want this. Trust me.
After that, I wasn't allowed to pick dinners at the conference anymore.
I also like to think that non-deep fried one was a bluff. Just actually nothing is not deep fried. They're like, oh shit, he called us on it. But yeah, love it. Okay. So having successfully fishified the menu, you now have to go speak to the decorators because decoration time is coming. But before we get to that, we're going to cut to these guys and see what's going on with them. So Makka and Ita, you've arrived at the crowd similar to what Duncan saw, but where he was immediately welcomed in by Jaden. You're kind of on the fringe. Makka, how would you try and draw attention to the fact that you are heroes and that you've been around? I mean, obviously you stand out, but everyone's kind of already has like a solid morning buzz going. So what's Makka's tactic for subtly drawing attention to you?
Well, I know one of their customs is to hold your fist out and have people hit it. So I would just walk with both fists out into a crowd and be like, what's my name? I am Ginkgo Longleaf. I defeated the salamander with my companion here. Hit my fist. And just say that to people as I walk in.
Hit his fist. Hit his fist. Hit his fist. And people start like hitting your fist. And sure enough, the 2 of you start to get swept forward. Not because the crowd is like trying to push you into the wedding. Just everyone's so eager to hit your fist as you just walk that like no one's stopping you because they're just trying to hit your fist. That being said, Ita, you of course are also being swept along as Duncan Danno. Are you saying anything? Or are you trying to look stoic? What is Ita's studied version of Duncan look and sound like?
It's just it's like, yes, bumping the fist of a dawnbreaker. And that's it. She's just like, dawnbreakers, all of you.
For a second, Makka, you kind of slow because you could have sworn that Duncan said he was leaving earlier, but it sounds like, and then you turn and it's Ita. But given the rhetorical stylings of Mr. Danno, pretty solid.
Yes, well done.
I'm an expert student, so I just need to like take a long rest and like learn from someone, and I can learn anything.
That is worth noting. That was a long rest, so feel free to have all your shit back, everyone.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yes,
I was still sitting at not full hit points.
I have
you are because
adjusted
you
my
had a long
prepared
rest.
spells.
Yeah,
for
yeah, I know.
crashing
I was saying I hadn't
I
updated.
see. Great. In your wake, important to neither of you, but Duncan, for some reason, you just get goosebumps of the ill-favored kind. As in the wake of Ginkgo Longleaf and Duncan Danno, a bunch of Sprangbrekkers are like, oh, cool. So we're Dawnbreakers. Wonder what that means. And thus the new legion was born. Meanwhile, you make it to the gates, bumping fists, and as the two guards kind of eye you, one of your hangers-on, who's been like looping around to bump your fist several times, like is clearly cutting the line. Says, don't you know who this is? This is Ginkgo Longleaf. And the guard's eyes go wide, and he's like, yo, my name is Ginkgo. My parents heard from their parents how badly you fucked up the blue orgy room, and they were so impressed it's become a family name. Yo, that's toy. Let me bump that fist. And he bumps your fist and opens the gate and says, come on in, sir. It's good to meet you.
I would like for my companion, Duncan Danno, to join me at this wedding ceremony. Yes?
I just point to myself, say, that's me.
And he nods. He's like, yeah. Okay, I see what's going on here. That's all right. That's all right. Yeah. You crazy kids go along. You have fun later. Oh man, I can't believe he's gonna destroy another orgy room with that weird Scottish orc. And the two of you head in to the ceremony. You've successfully managed to con your way in. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know it's a big point of contention for Dear Sweet Makka, so good for all involved.
Yep.
Actual Duncan Danno, you arrive at the decorators, and they are currently working on a forest theme. People down here seem to think forests are kind of quaint and fun, so they're currently like just rapidly stone crafting trees and like working on paper things to hang up and that sort of thing. The lead decorator is a female dwarf who is clearly like en route to graying. You can tell that kind of she's it's pretty much taken like most of her body by this point, but she's still moving very calmly and kind of effectively around the table and instructing people.
Wait. I'm so glad I got here in time. I'm sorry, friends. He's just got his hands up, and he's got that big sort of like weird horsey necrotist mask coming in. He's like, it's change of plans. I spoke with Jaden, but more importantly, I spoke with the bride. They don't know. Forest is out. Forests is last generation. What they want now is fish. They want water. They want fish. Fish jumping out of water. Fish jumping into water. Water with fish in it. They want a lot of fish. You know, it's just fish. That's the theme.
And she stares and she says, I've had my team making trees all day since we woke up, shook off our hangovers, and came down here. I simply do not think we can possibly change course right now.
See, do you know what? I agree, because there's so much great work being done here, and you've already got it. But here's the thing. Each of those trees could be the fin of a shark, or you could turn it into a big fish jumping out of the ground as though the ground is water. I'm not saying abandon the work you've done. I'm just saying take it and fishify. Just fishify the work. What if there's little fish swimming in the trees? You know, it's just about having fish present in a way you might not expect fish.
Give me a persuasion check there, bud.
I'm definitely going to use Swashing Point for this. Good. 24.
Using the trees as fins. Using our pre-existing work to create more fish. Creating the sense of motion and excitement. It's a good thing. Yes, fish. We will do all fish. She turns around, she says, hello, everyone. I know I promised I would discuss insider stock tips with you, but that will have to wait. First,
Jesus Christ.
Fish. We must fishify our lives. And there's like assorted grumbling. And she says, also, I will order a round of tequila. And then everyone like explodes into joy. She says, you, sir, seem to be a brilliant mastermind when it comes to the art of design. What shall we call the theme?
I think what we should call it, because the bride's mother's name was Gwendolyn, and she loves her mother, but her mother couldn't make it to this wedding. So I think what we should remind her is that her mother won't forget her. So we'll call it Gwendolyn Never Forgets.
That seems unrelated to fish, but I should trust your instincts. After
That's
all,
true, you should.
I
Thank
was
you.
making all these happy little trees like a fucking doofus. Very good.
If you're worried the
Gwendolyn
word
Never
forgets isn't enough, you could make it Gwendolyn Never Fish Gets. I'll give you options.
Puns. I am incredibly amused. Gwendolyn Never Fish Gets. That will tie it all together wonderfully. Thank you. And then she just like leans forward and like kisses you on the side of the mask. Says, I will always cherish these moments we had together.
As will I. Then I get out of there because it's getting weird.
The fuck?
He has changed two middling geniuses' lives today. So finally, Ryan, you need to make your way to talk to the priest. But before we see that, Makka, you are hanging out in I guess it's probably a temple rather than a church. In a temple, in kind of that awkward pre-wedding mingling bullshit that happens when no one really knows what to do or if anything's expected of them. Given that Makka is a fish out of water in the best of times, what do you do to survive this? What's Makka doing in this kind of mix and mingle pre-ceremony situation?
He won't speak to anyone unless spoken to. He's just kind of like just not. It wouldn't occur to him to like strike up a conversation because he's not here to socialize at a wedding. He's here to like destabilize a government. So he's here to bring death to the people of Sprangbrekh, but in like a good way, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, he is. He's just standing there. If people are engaging with him in conversation, because again, he's somewhat of a public figure, people want to socialize with him. He opens up to them and stuff like that. So I'm assuming there are some dwarves that have approached that are, drink in hand, maybe hand him a drink as well or something like that. And he'll drink and chat. I think the things that he talks about to anyone who approaches range from political rumors to see if the Richard's rumor mill has been at work at all, and also just talking shit about Karen.
Okay. Can I get an investigation check, please, to see how much you're able to ascertain about the success or failure of Richard's operation?
That's not great. Investigation. Let's see what that modifier is. It's +1, so that's a 9.
9. Okay, yeah, you bring up political rumors. People seem to be chuckling in that kind of like, you can't confirm that they have certainly heard this. They're not talking about it, but they laugh in that kind of like, I get it way that to someone who's socially savvy would suggest that they have definitely heard it. To a hermit turtle who lives in the swamp, you have no idea whether they've heard it or not, but at least they've heard it from you now.
They won't stop winking at me. Surely a symptom of the gray.
Amazing.
Or they're like the Impa Crimpas, and that's just smiling.
Yeah. That feels like 10 years ago, dude.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge put forward to you, Makka, is when you're cornered by a group of what are known as like Sprangbrekhers of the aughts. So this is like the youngest generation of people allowed at this wedding, and they are thrilled to hear that the great Ginkgo Longleaf is here, and they desperately want to hear what the craziest thing you've ever done in Bleen was, because they heard that like you get up to some hijinks there. Like they heard that you got like officially pardoned for like some wacky hijinks, but it's very much like hey, you were in Animal House, right? Tell me your coolest story. What story do you think Makka spins about the exploits of Ginkgo Longleaf?
It is my understanding that I, Ginkgo Longleaf, did knowingly and deliberately desecrate one of your holiest rooms, the Blue Orgy Room. Yes.
And they all just like throw their hands up. They're like, oh, he did it. Oh, he totally did it. And they start like laughing and chuckling. Do you think Makka would elaborate more, or do you think you would just say exactly that much and be like, I got
just like
yes, it was a dark day for your people.
it's like
Great, love it. Okay, and Ita, you can see the person who, again, you haven't met him personally, but Weebly Strabelmeyer is doing the rounds, high-fiving people. He looks a little bit worse for the wear, having been knocked unconscious by a club yesterday. But you can definitely see him through the crowd. I guess my question is, given that Ida hasn't had a lot of experience with like grand reveals, would you be biding your time, or would you just kind of reveal yourself as soon as you humanly could? Or orchishly could, I suppose.
I think she's smart enough to bide her time and not blow it. Because it would also be nice to have kind of the cover of ceremony that he might not want to interrupt, to give her maybe some measure of protection.
Okay. So Ida, in that case, I'm going to need, I think, probably an investigation check, which is to figure out kind of how you can dodge Weebly for the awkward standing around waiting portion of the day.
That's a nat 20.
Ooh. Oh, damn. So with the excitement,
all that dodging earlier really got me in the mood.
Well, and with the excitement of the Ginkgo Greenleaf telling the story of the Blue Orgy Room, people are distracted and thrilled. And you kind of make yourself scarce. You're pleased to see that there isn't a ton of attention tracking you. Like, you don't see people kind of like looking around expectantly, like, what if an orc shows up? That would mean our plan has failed. Which puts your mind at ease, because I think for a second there's like a cloak and dagger vibe, and then you're like, well, okay, this is somewhat fine. Which is good. So you kind of just find a pillar to kind of like surreptitiously Buster Bluth your way behind, as though you were a Milford man.
I'm just like, I just have like a notepad that I'm just like flipping pages on, just like looking through like notes I've made in the past. It's my version of scrolling my phone. Yeah,
totally. It's like in an Assassin's Creed game where you can just like pretend that you're walking in deep thought, and people are like, that guy's fine. He's dressed like an assassin, but look, he's thinking real hard.
Exactly.
You should leave him alone. Great. So with the actual ceremony fast approaching, Duncan, you finally arrive at the priest's, I guess, rooms. You find the priest like sitting there with his like feet up on the desk. He's got like a massive, like one of those like comedy sized pina colada fishbowl glasses. And he is like actively muttering through the speech he's working on. And just going like, but I mean, they used that in a TikTok dance last week, so do I seem like I'm copying it if I do it now? Probably. And he like scrunches it up, throws it like nowhere near a waste bin, just kind of off to the side. And he just looks at his drink and he's like, drinking old. I don't know what we're gonna do. I truly don't. And it takes like a big sip.
Oh, I'm so glad that I found you. This is so important about the whole vows. Because I just found out that, you know, Karen didn't have the heart to come and talk to you about what she needed to be said. don't know about the religion that Karen practices. And she's ready to be, across multi-faiths. But she needs to have some words for herself. The name of Karen's God is Gwendolyn. And Gwendolyn is a god of justice and retribution against those who've done wrong. And right now, I mean, she's not going to say it. She'll never admit it. But Karen is one of those people who's worried that, maybe there isn't justice in this world. Maybe the people who face crimes don't need it. And she needs to know that here they will face punishment. That Gwendolyn will come down and protect Karen and protect the people and just make sure that, retribution will be dealt out by Gwendolyn where it's appropriate. And if you could just build that in, maybe some fish references just to match the theme, just to keep the whole thing together, that would make a world of difference for the bride. It's so important that she's comfortable here. It's so important. And she may even say, stop talking about, Gwendolyn, but she won't mean it. She needs it to be said.
And he nods and places his now empty fishbowl glass down and just says, fishify it. Now that's interesting. Gwendolyn, the god of justice and vengeance. All right. Well, I mean, we're kind of an interfaith kind of place, so that seems fine by me. You want to hang out?
Well, I would, but I can't take the mask off and it's hard to drink through it. Plus, look, you've got a fishbowl right there. It's going to give you the inspiration you need.
Oh, yeah, because fish go in fish bowls. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I get that. That's cool. All right. Cool, man. Well, if you want to hang out later, I'm probably going to be here. I'm here a lot of the time.
I've got to run a lot of this wedding thing, and I'm not sure where the night's going to take me.
Oh, yeah, the wedding thing. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
After this whole thing is over, I'll come have a drink with you.
Oh, yeah, all right. Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, cool. Thanks for the advice. You seem like a pretty convincing fellow, and honestly, I got nothing, so you don't got to roll any dice or anything. I'll just do it. That sounds good.
Oh, thanks. Because you know what? I've really thought that this whole fish theme was a bit of a roll of the dice, but now it's all worked out, so I'm excited. Everyone's here. Fishify, he says, doing those little cheering hands people do in corporate environments when they're leaving a room, and then he's at the door.
He's like, yeah, all right, I feel vaguely inspired. I mean, not really enough to change anything in my life, but I'm glad he kept saying that with a little fist. That was cool. I should do that. I'm gonna do that in the ceremony. Oh, Drinkinold, you're broken, bud. Let me fix you. And he just stumbles over and starts refilling the glass. Great. So Duncan, having spent your stress and convinced the appropriate amount of people, congratulations, your yes but has become a yes and. It is now a fishified wedding.
And now to go ruin the seating arrangements.
Yeah, so you fuck up the seating arrangements, all that happens.
That's easy.
And then the ceremony itself is set to begin. Jaden comes over and says, listen, I got to confess to something, and it's pretty bad.
All right, well, I'm here for you, so you can tell me anything.
My brother's pretty bad that I didn't make him my best man. But he's a chowderhead. His head's so full of chowder. I needed someone with brains, brawn, and who I could trust. So just got to make nice with him. Otherwise, it's going to be real awkward.
Well, here's a question for you, Jaden. What if, now that everything's been taken care of, you let me MC and host as we continue, rather be the best man starting now? Because then he can get all the credit for this work. And if anyone asks, you can say he picked these things out, That's great. And then I'll just go, I can check on the bride, make sure everything's going well.
Can you roll a persuasion check? But we've already established you are the best man, both in that you are in the role at the wedding, but also that you are a man who is the best.
16.
But I'll never remember how confident you were talking over your shoulder while peeing. Oh, I respect that. So I got to trust you now. Just know. And he leans in. He's like, you're the best man in my heart. All right. Robbie! He goes off to find Robert and mend some fences, which is nice. Leaving you to go talk to Karen. Duncan, you storm sort of through the back of the temple to the sort of room set aside for the bride to prepare. You boot open the door. I assume, like you're like this is.
Here's the weird thing. I need to open the next door over to see if these rooms have windows. Because if I can kill her, but I can't get her out of here, that doesn't help me.
They unfortunately do not. Given that we're fully underground, there's not a whole lot of reason for windows. So you got a weird Flintstone wall.
Okay. He'll go into the next door, like next room over, and hit the door open a crack so he'll know if she leaves. And he'll try to listen through the wall because she seems like the kind of idiot who talks to herself.
You just hear like, a lot of people think that talking to yourself out loud is a sign of foolishness or weakness. But in us, I think it's really strong, me. All right, I think this is going to be like the best wedding we've ever had. I love you too. And then you just hear like metal clink against a mirror. And then says, "Oh, but I suppose I should probably change." And you hear some metal clattering. And then there's a huge commotion, and a bunch of people come like roaring down the hall, and they're like, "Sorry, Your Highness, it's time!" And they like sweep her out of the room. Duncan, as you throw open the door, it's just in time to see her kind of like moving to the stage. But she didn't see you. You do have time to investigate the room if you want.
100%. That's where Duncan's going. He wants to find out what metal clattered. What the fuck is in there? Like, he needs to know shit.
So you make your way inside, and on the ground, you find the like sort of hands and gauntlets of the armor of Solaris, as well as the greaves, which we learned earlier, and sort of the foot casing, sort of boot pieces. But basically, it looks like she swapped out the arms and legs of the armor. It is somewhat unsettling to just see these pieces here, because it's a little bit like seeing your ward dismembered.
Yes. Is there a bag? Do I have something I could carry these things with if I pack them up to like sling around my shoulder to hide under my cape or something?
I would assume so.
Okay, so yeah, I'll bundle those up and then they'll just get stowed so that I can carry them in like a hidden way.
Okay.
Is there anything else in the room that is of interest? Is there anything written?
Given that she is a familiar haunting suit of armor, there's not a whole hell of a lot she can do other than just be in the armor. So no, it looks like she came in here to give herself a pep talk. Written on the mirror and lipstick is XOXO Karen. Love, comma, Karen.
Okay. I don't know if she's going to come back in here, but there is something I want to do in case she does. This is just in case, because I don't even know if she can breathe in that suit. But he wants to lean forwards to the mirror and then exhale so it fogs up, and then just write the phrase, "I'm coming for you, Gwen," and let it go away so that if someone breathes on the mirror while Karen's there, it will come out like a ghost wrote it, and parts of the suit will have disappeared.
I like it. I like the amount of pettiness in Duncan's like planning for this. Like, it's the little touches really that
his core strategy is, if she freaks out and he can get her to run out of the church alone, he can just murder her and no one will be around. He just needs her to leave the building.
Yeah, legit. All right, so the ceremony is beginning. Makka/Ginkgo and God, how do we end up with this again? Makka/Ginkgo and Ita/Duncan Danno. You make your way to your seats. You hear a lot of grumbling about people who are very upset with where they're sitting, as well as
people behind us because they're dwarves and we're
yeah, but also they're traditionalists and they're like really excited about this, and they're too far from the stage, and the people up front are like real frustrated because like it's Sprangbrekh, baby. There's no reason to be fucking indoors when, you know, glowing demon stones out, guns out. And inexplicably there's fish everywhere. Just like and for some reason they're all in like really sort of arboreal colors. Like it's a lot of greens and browns and like different shades of greens. It's very confusing. But you know, there's a couple of them have pine cones on them for some reason. And sure enough, the priest kind of steps out. He's like, Oh, hey everyone! Wow. Hi. You guys all here for the wedding thing we're doing? And like, there's like general muttering, like, oh yeah, all right, cool. Maybe can you like sit down or something? That'd be kind of cool because we'd like to get started. Wow, it's really lucky you're all here for that. I was worried I was gonna have to kick you all out to let the other people in. Yeah, this is a pretty good wedding so far. Okay, cool. Hey, where's we got the best man? I think I talked to him earlier. He seemed really good. And then Robert Hayworth comes out and is just like, "Oh, I am the best man." Like, oh yeah, okay, you're different than I remember, but okay. So like the groomsmen party lines up the two Kyles, and then Jaden himself walks out, and you're not sure what the official colors of Sprangbrekh are, but it's the equivalent of wearing an American flag tuxedo. Like he's just decked out in like the most patriotic, like he's got like the Spider-Man like underarm things where it's like the flag when he puts his arms out, and everyone's applauding, and he's like, "This is a pretty important day for Sprangbrekh, and it's not just because it's my wedding, it's also the election." And everyone starts applauding. He's like, "But of course, I'm not helping that." And everyone like laughs and claps. Although again, the traditionalists are kind of like, "Wait, is he quipping about it being the election day?" And then the band starts up, dropping their weird, like horn-based EDM shit that we talked about, and the bride takes the stage. Duncan, given that you're now the MC and sort of master of ceremonies and host, you actually aren't that related in this. You're kind of in the wings.
Yeah, I feel like he'd be in the wings watching so that if something goes wrong, he can subtly make it worse. Or if someone has a complaint, they can come to him and he can be that manager we all hated that like sends the customer back angrier than before the manager arrived.
Oh boy, yeah. We've worked in similar restaurants, my friend. So the priest is like, "Oh yeah, all right, cool. Okay, hey everybody. Sorry, hey, it's me, the priest. Listen, we also got the bride to be. She's the future queen of he like looks at his hand, he's like, oh yeah, Orville. Yeah. Everybody, this is Princess Karen. And sweeping out of the wings comes Karen. And although the chest piece is still very much the armor of Solaris, the helmet is open and like almost distended, and she's got a metallic mask under the helmet that is Duncan, alarmingly a like pitch perfect metalwork of Gwendolyn. The arms and legs are incredible, but also multifaceted. So very much where the previous armor was like something someone would wear, given that no one will ever wear this. They're double jointed, so the fingers can kind of roll back and forward. The legs are less armored and more nimble, given that there's nothing to protect. Basically, it's almost like robot arms and legs as opposed to not
armored. Yeah.
Yep. As she walks out, she just says, "Oh, I'm ever so grateful for all of you to welcome me as a representative both of Orville and of humanity here into your kingdom. It is truly my honor as but a humble suit of rather famous armor to be here with you all today and to be marrying into such a wonderful political dynasty. I truly think that this alliance, if of course my dear Jaden does in fact become president."
At this point, Duncan would like to start clapping just to blow her flow on the speech to try to get the rest of the crowd to do it. Like
roll
he's just
me
gonna
an
fuck with her and
opposed
clap.
persuasion check.
Oh yeah, 24.
That 20, bitch. As you're working, Karen, being a familiar in a hollow suit, begins to just like raise her voice to like a booming echo. She just says, "We shall create an alliance of equals, starting right here, that shall spread across the globe and make everyone as prosperous as we are here at Sprangbrekh. After all, YOLO, bitches!" And everyone's like, "Oh, she's also cool. We thought she was just regal." And the arms shift, twist, and you can see that the fingers are kind of closing to a point. Duncan, to you, they almost look like cannons. You see her raise them, and then suddenly Jagger just sprays the crowd, just shooting out of her hands. And she says, "Behold the bounty of Orvel and me." And everyone's like losing their minds. Everyone's just so fucking happy. They're like, "We love fish." And that is like, suddenly you see that the sprays falter. And you just, Duncan, I think with some satisfaction, watch as she begins to take in the room. Let's see how much she resists. Oh, nope. I rolled a 6. And she says, who's... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I never do this. Might I speak to the manager, please? This is not the theme. I think we settled on like lots of trees, and I am livid. And Jaden's like, uh-oh. Looks like trouble in paradise. Oh, how am I going to marry this person now? So the priest is like, "Oh, hey, yeah, you seem real upset. Let's bring up the decorator." And Martha Stalwart, the dwarf, comes up through the aisle, and she's like, "Hello. A very brilliant man came by and suggested that perhaps we ought to fishify everything, given your love of them and your religion." And you can see like the full armor trembling in rage.
Duncan steps behind a pillar.
Yeah.
Karen tilts her head in a way that would be that like razor thin Cersei Lannister smile, if she could move her features, and just says, "Well, we are very disappointed in this, and like you." And she says, "Darling Jaden, we will add her to the list, please." And he's like, "I don't know what that list is, but I'll do it." Then he turns to Robbie and he's like, "Still on speaking terms. Got a chance." But Martha looks very concerned. So the ceremony begins. Vows are exchanged. Jaden is a much better politician than he is a wooer of humans of any sort. And it's a lot. It's basically, you can tell it's just his political speech that you heard like a couple days ago, but just slightly reworded.
He steps up, kicks the priest over, calls him Richard the Grey.
Yeah. It's close. He's like, "Oh, yeah, sorry, this was an early draft. But that guy, what about that guy? Am I right?" And everyone's like, "Ha, that guy sucks." But you notice that it's the laughter is a lot more sporadic this time than it was previously, which might suggest that the rumors are taking hold. Karen's vows are short. She promises an alliance between Orvel and the Down Under that will forge a new future for Gren. And people seem pretty into that because it doesn't require any work from them at all. At which point the priest says, "Yeah, all right, cool. So if there aren't any objections, I guess you're married or something. You can kiss the robot. I guess. Yeah, all right, cool. This is fun. This was good. You guys want to do this again tomorrow? This was good. I think this was good."
Duncan to himself is like, "Bastard forgot about his speech."
He's like, "Oh, shit. Yeah. Sorry, I was supposed to say a thing. Listen,
I knew I should have rolled dice," he says to himself.
I just want you to know that Gwendolyn is watching over all of us, and as you know, and like you can see the shoulder, like the paladin's just like rising. It's like, yeah, you know, just if there's one thing Gwendolyn stands for, it's keeping tabs and keeping people to account. And you know, I just think that you know, she's up there or down there or wherever she's located normally these days. Just like looking at us and passing judgment, you know, because I don't think she ever forgets. And my understanding of justice is it's swift and violent and will rend us limb from limb, making us beg desperately for the gray. But the gray will not come, for Gwendolyn will destroy us. Amen. Yeah, all right, cool. You can kiss her now.
Makka stands and claps.
And like everyone else is kind of like also standing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Duncan in the back is like, if that man doesn't have a vow of chastity, I'm gonna try to fuck that priest.
Yeah, there's a whole Fleabag season about what happens with that priest. Anyway, so at this point, Karen is, oh man, I keep rolling under 10. Karen just like grabs him and lifts him up off the ground, like essentially headbutts him in a way that's like vaguely a kiss, throws him down, and just says, like we would like enjoy the food now, please. And from the ground, Jaden's like, my first kiss. It was everything I hoped. And the food comes out, and there's just that smell that I miss desperately because we're in quarantine and I can't go to pubs anymore. But of like the worst pubs,
the smell of Guy Fieri's.
yes, just like fried food, like heavy in the air. Like it's like the deep fryers are running constantly. It's just like it's like a wave of heat that hits you, just like oh no. And that's what floods the temple as the 4 times fried fish comes in. And Simon Fieri, side to his friend, steps in, and he's just like, "Oh, hey, everybody, listen. I've sent you to Flavor Town a few times, but now it's time to go to Flavor County, and then from there we're going to Flavor Country and maybe even a Flavor Continent. Scientists said it couldn't be done. Former President Nagata said it couldn't be done." I have proved here today it can be done. This fish is fried 4 times. Enjoy. It is. It's. Ryan, was Gwendolyn's choice.
Gwendolyn's return.
We call it Gwendolyn's return. For departed friends who I'm sure will return. And if there's one thing I know about friends who leave and come back, because everyone who comes to my restaurants are friends. They're usually pretty mad about what the donkey sauce did to them. So, like, let's hope Gwendolyn doesn't come back pissed. Am I right? All right, enjoy. There's extra donkey sauce on the side, but don't worry, we put it in the batter too. All right, enjoy. Karen is stoic, just completely frozen. But if you were close enough, you could hear a little like. It's like when a train goes by and everything rattles a little bit. The whole armor is just vibrating with rage. At which point, Weebly Straubenmeyer says like, "Oh, hey everyone. On behalf of the Ministry of Trade, I just want to make a toast to this incredible meal, to these incredible speeches, and to these incredible people, this incredible couple." And to the election, which I'm sure none of this will influence whatsoever. So a toast. And he raises his glass. Ita, this would be your moment.
And I just say, because I'm like so unpracticed in any of this, it's just like, yes. And a toast to you. And it's just kind of like lift up my hat and kind of just like, glare at him.
I'm going to roll an insight check. Because since he wasn't part of the planning of this and is only vaguely aware of it, we're going to see if he understands the importance of what you just did.
Yeah, he also hasn't met you.
No, I rolled a 9. He's like, That's really nice. I've had a rough day. Thank you. Wow. Like a tear rolls down his cheek. I rolled so badly. I rolled a 9. I want him desperately to react to this, but he doesn't quite get it. You find yourself locked in a weird Gatsby standoff where you both have glasses raised. And he's kind of like, you're standing there expecting a reaction, and he's just like crying with joy. What do you do?
I just turned to Mark and said, "This is not the response I expected. I am uncertain how to proceed."
I'm
still holding up the glass. Just
I'll
like
reach up
looking
and take your glass, Ita. I'll take it from you, and I will say,
I will perform the toast as Ita, the orc, will be indisposed.
It's just like, just say who she is out loud.
Weebly doesn't seem to pick up on that, but he sure as shit picks up on Ginkgo Longleaf standing up. And he's like, oh no. And then he just points at you and he says, this man assaulted me in my office. And everyone kind of looks at him and is like, wait, you mean to tell me that the legendary Ginkgo Longleaf went out of his cool partying way to hate you? Sit down, Straubelmeyer. He's like, but you. And then suddenly, like, he puts two and two together and he looks at Ida. He says, orc accountant. And with kind of trembling hands, he just says, I must go. Bathroom. Party. And then he just starts backing out of the temple. And like, just dead silence. Everyone is just staring at him. And Karen is like, please keep eating your fish. Pay no attention to whatever the fuck this is. Like, I get one wedding, and I cannot let it be ruined by someone named fucking Straubelmeyer. And Weebly starts, like, moving backward. But you can also see... sorry, can you roll me a perception check real quick? Laura?
Yep. 17.
You can see a few other people also leaving. There's a few, like, probably 3-4 other dwarves, including one demon knight who's kind of guarding the place. And basically, it's like, as soon as Weebly starts moving, all of them just start kind of quietly moving out of the space, while kind of shooting disturbed glances in your direction.
Makka says under his breath,
it appears Weebly did not recognize you. Perhaps you can corner him in the bathroom. Yes.
Because he does not pick up on those cues.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
He seemed to recognize me in the end, and I believe that everyone who is leaving has recognized me.
And now Makka's looking at like these people leaving, like,
yes, I see.
Yes. They are. These are the people who know.
How good is your visual memory, Ida?
It's, if I spend time remembering something, it's perfect.
I'm mostly asking, like, are you tracking who is leaving so Duncan can murder them later?
Yes. There would be like, yes. Yes.
Excellent. Okay, give me an investigation check, please, to see how well you can lock these people in.
It's 15.
Okay, you get a pretty good sense of them. And other people do too. Like, suddenly, like, people are talking about it. And as you hear the kind of, like, basically, like, any sense of ceremony has broken. So suddenly there's, like, a lot of rabble talking. People are talking about that. You start to hear, like, and I heard that, like, everyone he has sex with just stops having sex ever again. It's really embarrassing he must be really bad at it. And someone's like, like, Richard's boring and he wants to change everything. And I don't really like that, but, like, guys, I think Jaden might suck. And everyone's like, yeah, I think he might actually. So you can tell that this has been massively disrupted. And Karen, meanwhile, is sitting at the head table, just seething. People keep trying to bring her fish, and she just keeps flipping it off the table onto the ground. And Jaden's like, well, now we just got to worry about the election, and we'll be good. And she goes, like, because they're just speaking quietly to each other. Duncan, you're close enough to hear this. She's like, yeah, and you'd better win, or our deal is off, Jaden. And he's like, she's got the voice of an angel. Duncan, what are you doing?
I think Duncan has been creeping around the sides, but he's disguised enough that I think he'd swing by Makka's table as though he's like clearing plates, even though he's dressed like a giant monster person. And he'd be like, now's the time, push her over the edge, Makka. And then he just like cross the room like a busboy to put things away.
Makka rises up again with the drink that he took from Ita. He has not been to a wedding. I think that's probably not a controversial statement to make. So he stands and waits for everyone to be quiet. And when it becomes clear that they are just talking, he just starts to like loudly yell. Just like,
I am Ginkgo Longleaf, conqueror of the Blue Orgy Room. And I have a toast to make. Yes, hear me now, people of Sprangbrekh, for I wish to speak of Karen. Many of you know this Jaden. Yes, he is one of your people. He grew up with you here. But not much is known of Karen. I have traveled with her. We are besties.
She goes, hello, bestie.
Hello, Karen. You are speaking with a different voice. Yes.
Oh, this is just the voice of the person who endowed me as Princess of Orvale, my dearly departed Gwendolyn.
Curious. You did not speak with her voice earlier when you said she had been expunged from the armor. That you were imprinted on, yes. For you see, Karen was a familiar of the Covenant of Cricket.
Gasps.
In the Shadowlands, yes. A very dark place. All the evils of the world come from this place, yes.
But like, now I'm a princess.
Oh, Karen, no need to be coy.
And Makka doesn't get the pun. But
The mask falls out and just clangs off the table. And she just rises and like flips the entire head table. Everyone kind of like yells and hits the deck. And she's like,
and I rise and say, this is not very becoming of a princess, I would say, or a queen.
And she's like, how fucking dare you, Makka? I was even gonna let the Ginkgo long. He's never even been in an orgy room. He doesn't even know what they look like. I bet he doesn't even know what an orgy couch is. And there's like mutterings of like, wait, no, Ginkgo must know what an orgy couch is. It's just a couch that's in the orgy room, I assume.
I was like, what does Tom know that the rest of us don't?
No, I was just trying to imagine like what's the specific thing. I'm like, I guess they could just call all the furniture orgy furniture. I don't know.
I am well acquainted with the orgy room. It is blue.
Everyone's like, well, he's got her there. Yeah, that's a sound point. Touche, point to the turtle. And she's like, we were supposed to be besties. You said you were my bestie. Even when everyone else abandons me. Gwendolyn, Duncan's a weird orc now for some reason. I'm so fucking confused.
Karen, you said that besties share secrets with each other and information. I will share with you now that you are not well liked within our group.
The sort of multi-pronged claw toes on the legs just like grip through the stone and crack it. She says, "Whatever do you mean, Ginkgo?"
I speak plainly. You are the least liked of all the people in our group. Many of us, all of us, would prefer to have Gwendolyn back in the armor. Yes.
Well,
These are the things that besties share with each other.
He like races the glass.
And like there's confused glass raising. She's like, Gwendolyn is gone. I am the Gwendolyn now. And just like that weird stoner priest said, I am going to wreak a terrible fucking vengeance on you, Makka. I can't remember your last name. And she turns on her heel and storms off the stage.
I think Makka will just loudly say as she leaves,
Something else you may not know. Gwendolyn has reappeared in Sprangbrekh.
Full on like just like freezes, and her head just twists 360 I guess 180 to look back at you, and she just says, well, now that's interesting indeed, Makka. That's the kind of thing besties should share before they go and say mean things. But that's fine. If she's here, like, I can probably find her. After all, I was born like this. And suddenly the armor splits apart and just kind of collapses in a heap. And the floor beneath you trembles slightly. But looking around, Karen is gone. At which point the bell begins to ring and someone says, "Election time! It's election time! Come vote, election time!" And the Sprangbrekkers sort of get up and take their remaining Gwendolyn's returns, wrap them in newsprint, and just kind of take them for the road and go to cast their votes. Jaden goes over to the pile of armor and just kind of like nudges through it. And he's like, uh-oh, looks like she left. What do you think this means?
Well, he just steps out from behind a pillar in his mask. And he's like, well, do you know what this means? It means you're a widower now. It means you've got to get out there and find yourself someone who'll love you for who you are, not just for political alliances and cold, floating armor sex. And you know what? You've loved once, but you can love again. And there are people who love that, but maybe you should love someone you don't have to trap. As he says this, he's just like picking up the pieces of Amala's armor and putting them in his bag, but ignoring all the new shit because it's fucked up and he hates it.
Yep.
And he's like, so go out there and find new love. I think you thought this presidency was going to change who you were and make you more attractive. You're attractive as you are. But leave the job behind. Leave the wife you had behind and find tomorrow's wife for tomorrow's Jaden.
He's like, you're right. I never wanted to be president. I just thought I had to be. This calls for a loud declaration. And he like kind of looks around and clambers up on climbs up on your shoulders, and just kind of plants himself there. He's like, everyone, before you leave, remember all the great fish decorations I got for you. Remember all the great fish you just ate. I'm asking you, as your possible future president, not to make me your future president. I say, fuck tradition. Tomorrow's Jaden is a Jaden I want to be. Let's be tomorrow's Sprangbrekh. After all, every good Sprangbrekh party must come to an end. Let's make Richard the Grey our president and see what the fuck happens. And everyone's like, what? And with that, the people of Sprangbrekh set out to cast their votes as Makka, Ita and Duncan eagerly await the results and begin to formulate a plan about how to save Gwendolyn and stop Karen.
This episode of Curse Code and Crowd Sound was mixed and edited by Laura Hemstra, and the campaign was created by Tom McGee. Our original theme music was composed by Landon Knoblock, and Curse Code and Crown's logo was created by the brilliant Decapitated Markers. If you want to follow our players or our DM on Twitter, you can reach out to Laura at EL Hamstring, Ryan at the Ryan LaPlante, Tyler at Tyler_Hewitt, Tom McGee at McGeeTD, or you can message our whole company at Dum Dum Dice. So please join us again for more Curse, Code, and Crown!
Dum Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christian Menicola, Long, the Half-Blind Prophet, James Cuellar, Charles Grams, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Lord of Bradovic, Noel Lewis, Scott Garland, Anthony Griffin, Chet Awesome Laser, Jordan Neesmith, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Taryn Hefner, Cade Peters, Richard Cranium, Christian Mendez, Anna Zed, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.